In this video, we're going to be discussing some of the pros and cons of thermal vision and digital night vision, and looking at two different budget-friendly entry-level options side by side, including the ATN OTS XLT 160 2.5 by 10 times thermal monocular and the NVG10 digital infrared night vision monocular. Both of these are leaders in the budget category, and together they can help you identify potential threats at great distances and better observe your immediate and up-close surroundings, giving you the edge over anyone else who isn't using thermal or IR night vision. Both of these devices are compact and designed to be held with one hand, and the NVG10 can also be mounted to a helmet for hands-free use. At a quick glance, there might not seem like much difference between the two, but both of these devices give you real-time information that you would otherwise be unable to detect with the naked human eye at night without drawing significant attention to yourself, and they both give you a tremendous advantage. And the best way for you to understand the main differences in these technologies and the strengths and weaknesses to each is to compare them side by side at different ranges in different environments with different subjects. Before we dive in, be sure to smash the like button, and this week I'm giving away one of my favorite tactical flashlights of all times, the ACEBEAM P17 Defender. ACEBEAM makes some of the toughest lights that I've ever used, and this one runs on a nice big 21700 battery, produces 4900 lumens, it can throw a beam a distance of 445 meters, and it has a max runtime of 20 days on its lowest setting, and overall it's one of the best performing and most well-designed lights in its class. And to enter to win, all you have to do is leave a comment down below, and I'll be picking a winner randomly using the comment picker app and announcing it on my channel next Friday. We're going to start off with an ultra close range comparison, and our subjects will be somewhere between 10 meters up to about 50 meters away. The ATN thermal monocular on the left has a 160 by 120 pixel thermal sensor and detects the heat signatures emitted by objects, allowing it to work effectively in both complete darkness or through obstacles like fog, smoke, and foliage. Thermal imaging is not reliant on ambient light sources, and it can be used effectively during both the night and the day, making them suitable for a wide range of scenarios and environments. Generally, the field of view is more narrow with thermal monoculars, and there is a 2.5 times zoom here, which does put you at somewhat of a disadvantage at close range, and it would be much tougher to scan an environment and detect something at close range compared to the digital night vision setup. The NVG10 monocular is an infrared setup and relies heavily on either ambient lighting or supplemental infrared lighting, and generally provides higher detail and resolution compared to thermal monoculars, offering a more familiar visual experience. Digital night vision technology primarily relies on amplifying available light and not in highlighting the contrast in sources of heat, so it might not be as effective at detecting living things as thermal monoculars, especially as ranges increase. However, this setup in particular does have a wider field of view and is very well suited for close range environments, and is going to be dominant over thermal in short range and competitive in mid ranges as well. Now we're going to shift our range to somewhere between 50 and 100 meters, and at this point we do start to notice the advantage shifting towards the thermal setup in some instances. However, it is dependent on the lighting conditions, the backdrop, and the size of the subjects. In the presence of strong ambient lighting at around 50 meters, my wife is much more difficult to spot and track with the digital night vision setup, and there's barely any contrast between her and the chain link fence backdrop, and there's a lot more contrast with the thermal. Out on the lake, the advantage definitely seems to switch back to the digital night vision setup. At the moment, the moon was full, and there's plenty of contrast between the ducks and the reflection of the water, and the heat signatures are tougher to pick up on smaller objects, especially when they're on the water. Scanning a parking lot will give you some interesting things to look at, and vehicles also give off quite a significant heat signature, and the person in the background again would most likely only be detectable with a thermal monocular. Now we've got our eyes on a person at about 100 meters, and it's clear that the advantage between the two devices definitely has to go to the thermal, and there's a particularly strong heat signature coming off the face and the rest of the body, and if it weren't for the silhouette, it would be significantly tougher to spot the person with digital night vision. Another thing to keep in mind is that pretty much any IR night vision device will incorporate IR illuminators, which could also be visible to somebody else using night vision. So you will have to exercise IR light discipline, and keep this in mind if you're worried about being detected by somebody using night vision, and this is not a concern with thermal imaging. Now we've increased the distance significantly, and our subjects will be somewhere between 120 and 250 meters. At this point, the digital night vision isn't providing us with all that much human detection ability, but it does give you a nice wide and clear view of the environment, but the thermal monocular does start to gain a huge advantage when it comes to detection. Out on the water, there is a platform loaded with seals, which is about 180 meters away, and they are giving off a tremendous heat signature, and these would go otherwise undetected if you were just relying on digital night vision alone. Most thermal monoculars do have different color mode sets, and there are advantages to each depending on the circumstances, and many also have the ability to track the object with the hottest temperature on the screen. Another thing to keep in mind here is that this is an entry-level thermal setup, and if you're going to jump up to something like a 320 or even a 640 pixel sensor size, the detection ranges would be significantly further and could even reach a distance up to several thousand meters on some of ATN's more advanced products. You can digitally zoom with the NVG10, however the image quality does appear quite grainy, and this setup's onboard IR illuminator is just not able to keep up at this kind of distance. Supplemental IR lighting can play a role here, as you can add dedicated IR lights to your setup and get much further range, but it does come at a cost. The quality of the image on the NVG10 is not quite as good as what you could get with a PVS14, and the few tenths of a second of lag on the NVG10 would put you at a disadvantage in a CQB situation, but a single PVS14 monocular would easily cost 10 times as much as an NVG10, and if analog night vision is completely out of reach for you, then the NVG10 is definitely worth considering. If you want to learn more about how the NVG10 compares to a PVS14, you need to watch Don't Do Daylight's video, which I'll be linking to down in the description below. Thanks for watching this video, and I'm eager to hear your thoughts on thermal and digital night vision monoculars down in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new here and hit the like button and let YouTube know that you enjoyed the video.